Welcome to Holographic Health Insights, the podcast where science meets soul for complete well-being. Join hosts Reverend Anne-Marie Byers and her daughter Rochelle Generis as they explore transformative health approaches that integrate body, mind, and spirit, from energy medicine to holistic practices.
Food isn't just a trend, it's a lifestyle choice rooted in long-term health and environmental care. Anne-Marie and Rochelle break down the deepest reasons why going organic supports your body, your energy, and your planet. Welcome back, everybody. Skip Monty here, back in the studio with owners of Holographic Health, Inc., Reverend Anne-Marie Byers and Rochelle Generis. Good to see you both again. So today we're talking about organics. So why is eating organic food so important?
Well, Hippocrates first said many, many years ago, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So food is your first medicine, always. And I follow Dr. William Li, spelled L-I, and he is the fellow that wrote Eat to Beat Disease, Eat to Beat Your Diet. And he said he didn't really understand if organic food was important or not. And so he asked a biochemist friend of his, and they have done testing on food. And organic food is twice as nutritious as non-organic food. So first of all, you only need to eat half as much, and that's important. But second of all, many digestive problems are created by glyphosate in foods. And a lot of people who have a problem with celiac or, gluten intolerance mimics celiac and vice versa. So people that have digestive problems, you really don't know if it's a glyphosate intolerance, true celiac, or gluten intolerance. But eating organic food at least will minimize that particular issue. And think about it. If something is going to kill an insect, it's not good for you. It's going to kill your good gut bacteria as well. And you can no longer wash off the pesticides. That glyphosate is in that food, in the soil, is often in the seed. They have put this, wrapped it in there, created a genetically modified seed. So you want the heirloom foods, you want the organic foods, and you minimize all of having to push those toxins out of the body, all the issues you can have from the glyphosates. And there's also one other, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a certain kind of pesticide that they put on grapes and strawberries that the European Union actually banned decades ago. And farmers in the U.S. have still maintained the use of that. They've gotten an exception to the ban on those. So there are certain things like strawberries and grapes that you should never eat if they are not organic. They can cause all kinds of not only digestive upsets, but neurological upsets. So it has gotten extremely important to your health, your digestive health, your bodily health in general, to eat organic food. And because of my journey and my background, I don't have anything in my house that does not say non-GMO and organic. Now, the definition of organic means non-GMO. But if for some reason you have to have some asparagus and you can't get organic asparagus, at least make sure it's non-GMO. So there may be some cases where you just can't get something you have to have. But when it comes to grains, you have to get the organic version. There is just no question. and some of these other foods like the strawberries and grapes that must be organic. Rochelle, I know you have some comments along this regard as well.
Oh, I sure do. So, like Ann said, grains especially are very important to get organic. And my favorite way to buy pasta is from the made in Italy kind. So, if it is made overseas, it is inherently organic because they don't allow GMOs and pesticides to be used overseas. So, I always look for, especially pasta, because it is a more processed grain. So even though I try to limit pasta in general just because of the heavy carb load, but when I do want some pasta, I shoot for that made in Italy. Usually tastes better too. But other grains, especially to look out for, are oats. So rolled oats, steel cut oats, any kind of oats. Barley is another one. So wheat, barley, oats, anything like that, you've got to really watch out for because of how it's processed. It has a really heavy, this includes crackers, like anything that is made with grain, has a really heavy pesticide load because of how it's processed here in the United States too. So you've got to be really careful with that. Corn is another one. I will not touch corn that is not organic. It is heavily GMO and pesticide heavy, just the way that it's farmed and processed as well. And talked about the grapes and the strawberries, but those grains and the corn especially are really, you have to watch out for. So this was a few years ago, I was having this really bad eczema reaction. So when I was in college, it started following a few vaccines, and I was able to kind of push it aside with some topical ointments when I was in college, but then it came back in awful force. It's the itchy kind, and it was miserable. So through our testing, Ann and I were able to figure out what exactly I was allergic to, and it was the corn, the grains, the barley. There were a few other things, but those were the heavy hitters. And when I cut all of those out, I cannot tell you the relief that I felt. So I still limit it today, but if I do eat anything with grains, it's organic. And I can tell when I haven't, because I start getting some little splotches on my fingers, and it's the same kind of symptoms. But I can tell too, like the more that I eat, the worse the symptoms are. So please listen to your body. If you are having any kind of reaction, especially on the skin or in the stomach, check your diet, seek out, do an elimination diet if you have to really figure it out. But eating organic is the best way to kind of start that process of feeding yourself good food.
And it's a good,
Well, coming from somebody,
it's a good thing that it's coming out the skin, because people that take drugs and do things to push it down into deeper in the body is really doing you a disservice, because the skin is the outermost layer of the body. If it's coming out on the skin, that's usually your first indicator that there's a problem. And so listen to your body. And when you have something coming out on the skin, try to rectify it instead of just pushing it down deeper, because then you're going to create more deep imbalances and create more problems for yourself down the road.
Yeah, you want to be sure to treat the root cause and not just the symptom.
Right.
The symptoms. Well, as somebody with digestive issues, mine's more physical though, but which by the way is much better thanks to the Holographic Health egg I have here for hiatal hernias. Much better, by the way, with using that. So thank you. But I'm concerned. I have a garden year round, pretty much, and I try to everything in my garden I want organic. I don't put any kind of pesticides on it. I'll lose a lot of plants that way. Like broccoli gets eaten up really quickly. But when I grow tomatoes, I love heirloom tomato strands, I guess. Like if you've ever heard of German Johnson or Cherokee Purple or heirloom tomatoes, they're very susceptible to the disease, so that, you got to really be careful with them. So are you saying that like beefsteak and Better Boy and all these hybrid tomatoes? Are those, I guess they're GMOs,
Well, hybrid,
right?
the definition of hybrid just means two types of tomato that have crossbred. So that's not necessarily organic or not necessarily GMO. It just, we've created a new species, right? So you kind of look at it that way. So you could still have organic and non-GMO hybrids. You just have to look at how it was farmed and that kind of thing.
Yes, and still, even something organic from somewhere like China that has so much industrial waste is not true organic in my estimation. The US and Europe have a lot better rules around that. So anything from Europe is going to be fine, like Rochelle was talking about from Italy, the pasta, and Germany and these other countries and the US, they have distinct rules around organic farming, organic foods. And you just don't want a conventionally grown or something that is GMO. You want a non-GMO and organic. And the definition of organic includes non-GMO. So if it says organic, then you're good. If it says non-GMO and it's grown in the, without pesticides and all that, then you're good, generally speaking.
And I did want to say one more thing. So our supplements, they are not labeled as organic because it's very expensive to get that approval, but we do source every time that is humanly possible. We source organic ingredients. So just a little side note.
And we have everything tested to ensure that it does not have any of those things in it.
Gotcha. So does organic eating support emotional and spiritual well-being as well?
I think so, because if you think about it, pesticides are a poison, right? Like they are designed to kill these little tiny organisms that might have a negative impact in our mind. I do think even the little tiny organisms play a good part in keeping the soil healthy and all. I could go down a rabbit trail with that. But the poison aspect, like that cannot move your body towards health. Does that make sense?
Well, and two, there have been studies about weight control and gut health and the gut talking to the brain and how those two really have to talk well. And these microorganisms in the gut talk to your brain, and that's how you maintain good weight. Well, if you're killing those off with glyphosate and pesticides in general, they're not going to talk. So look at the obesity and the amount of overweight people that struggle with that these days in this country. There's so many people and young people as well that struggle with their weight. And that has to be a side effect of that and happiness in general. And I know too, from my experience, if you are not feeling well, you're not going to be as happy either. Mm-hmm. So your physical health, your mental health, and sometimes they put chemicals in the food that make you want to eat more. That's not healthy either. So when you're eating a closer to nature diet with some good organic fruits and vegetables, a lot of those, and good grains and beans and all of that, you're going to feel happier and healthier.
Oh man, awesome. Well, Anne Marie, Rochelle, thank you so much. Your passion for whole body health is always inspiring and major education for me. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you
always
very much. All right. And I'll try to do better with an organic diet, and hopefully I can report that in the next episode.
Sounds good.
All right. You ladies have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thanks, Skip.
Thanks for joining us on Holographic Health Insights. If you're ready to dive deeper into transformative health approaches, visit holographichealth.com. or give us a call at 800-566-1522. Remember, your journey to total well-being starts here.